It appears to be 7 o'clock, so I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Town of Halifax Planning Board. We're located at 499 Plymouth Street here in Halifax, which is Town Hall, and we're meeting in the second floor in the Selectmen's Meeting Room. Did you want to? Oh.
It's there. That's my point.
Oh, okay, yeah. I also need to inform everybody that this meeting is being recorded by Area 58 Community Access Television, and it will be available to view if you haven't had enough. You can watch it again on YouTube. Did I forget anything? It's been so long since we've had a meeting.
Who's here?
Do we know for sure if
I saw an email that, or a text that he was coming, but it's 7 o'clock and we have a quorum, so we're going to go.
Okay.
Present tonight are Jamie Walsh, this guy, Bert Gaynor, Amy Troop, and myself, Tom Elias. I'm seeing way too much of Bert lately. We're on too many things together.
don't judge, do not judge.
And there's nothing like that. First up tonight, we have an appointment concerning special permit 26-1, 318 Plymouth Street, also known as the storage facility. And what we're dealing with tonight is what has been titled a minor site plan modification to the septic system. And I see people from 318 Plymouth Street here. Would you like to tell us what we're doing? Or what you're trying to do, or wanting to do?
Yes.
Your name, sir?
Gary James. I am the engineer representing the applicant, Tracy White, who's actually sitting right here behind me. I'm sure everybody recognized him.
I just wondering who I was listening to.
As the chair noted, we are here today for what we consider a minor site plan modification, specifically because of the change in the septic system. Just to let everybody know, the site remains pretty much as it was originally designed. In fact, you can see this is the approved plan from SEA. And this is the plan. In fact, these ones in yellow are actually in. The foundations are in, the buildings are not in, but the foundations are in. And they are as they were designed by SEA. So we haven't modified the site layout. It remains exactly the same. The approach driveway, the building locations, retaining walls on the outside, everything has remained the same. Now the septic system originally was proposed to be located here behind building G. And if you remember right, on the proposed grades, it was a big hump when you came over it to get through. And what we did find was, we went back out and did some more test bits. It is now located to the right of building C. So admittedly, there is a little bit of a hump there, probably about 2 feet. But it's a lot easier to get around.
Okay, where's Plymouth Street? That's
Yeah.
the entrance up to us? Okay.
This is the entrance.
Thank you.
So the entrance has remained the same. Now, what we also found as we were constructing this was that, for some reason, we can't figure out why, but the site grades didn't seem to make an awful lot of sense. So essentially, we have adjusted the grades across the entirety of the site. Buildings A through D would drop a foot. E through G would drop 1 3/4 foot. Building H was dropped 3 feet.
Oh.
So it was actually just a 1, 2, 3. Now, when we did this originally, you'll see the drainage stayed exactly the same. We never moved a single structure. Everything remained the same. So the inverts of the main lines coming down through the site are exactly as was designed by SEA. So nothing's changed on that issue at all. Now, the other change that has occurred is that when we got the architecturals in from the building designers, it's peak roof. SEA had designed the stormwater based on a shed roof.
Shed roof.
Yeah. So the back sides of building A and building E We will now collect the roof leaders. We'll direct them back into the system, or we will provide another system behind Building A that meets stormwater requirements. And we've also provided pedestrian access to the backside of these two buildings, A and E. Other than that, everything else will remain exactly the same as what the original design was.
The first question that comes to mind is, you've gone to Board of Health, you're all squared away with that?
Yes, we're all squared away with the Board of Health,
Understanding that
yes.
that was approved. Secondly, has our review engineer,
Pat has
I
been, he is,
believe Pat has been there, and I believe Pat gave us something, but I think something's,
Not on this.
yeah.
I got an email from Pat.
I saw one, I just don't,
It's for 314.
No, it's for 318.
this is 318.
Oh, you mean the email that's...
The email, that one,
Yeah.
that get, Tom?
Yeah, yeah, and I think we only have one page of it. Shoot, we're on the same page, inspections are done to the... Yeah, we don't have a complete, I don't think it is anymore.
I thought Daniel read it on to me. too.
Yeah, I know I read one too that said he'd been out there and he didn't have,
Yeah.
he was fine with it. I might be able to find
Pat
it.
has, we have been in constant contact with Pat throughout this entire process.
Yes, at that time, he
He
did
knows
say
that.
he's been there at least several times to inspect the
Yeah.
area, and I understood that he signed off on it. That's what was read to me.
Yeah, I even had spoken to him and he mentioned to me that he was fine with the changes. I'd like to have it in front of me, but I don't.
The only other thing that has been changed, and I'll note this, is that the fire hydrants were relocated as requested by the chief. There. Now, the first one remained the same right here. Second one is now here. Third one is now here. And the reason it's here is because the sprinkler connection on Building H, which is going to be sprinkled right there, and the fire chief wanted it to be that close.
That's the two-story building.
That's the two-story building, yes.
Personally, I like the idea that the buildings are a little lower. They won't be quite as, yeah, not 3 feet.
Well, the big thing too was that the wall height came down. Originally, the wall height was going to be about 8 to 9 feet tall. Now it's down to 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah.
Not only that, but then the return back along this property line, along the Alges parcel, nowhere near. In fact, it stopped right there at the corner. And whereas originally, it was going to go all the way to the property line in order to meet the grades. So
So, yeah, you don't have to grade it out.
no, we don't have to grade it out. And
Are you
It's-
opening us up to questions from the board?
I'm going in a minute,
Yeah.
as soon as I think.
I'm all done. I'm going to hand it back to the chair.
We will open it up for questions.
How does the roof design, the new roof design affect the water runoff as far as?
The only thing that really changed was the backside of buildings A and E. If you
Okay,
remember,
how does it affect the buildings then of A and E?
A and E, and what was happening before, if we had maintained our compliance with the original SCA design, they would have flowed off without any treatment. In other words, there was no plans at all to be able to collect that runoff and direct it back through the stormwater features.
And what is the actual change to the new septic? Bigger, deeper?
No, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, it didn't have to change, and Mr. Brennan was happy with that, or?
Mr. Brennan pretty much passed that off to the Board of Health.
All right,
But what it did do was it allowed us the ability to utilize the backside of Building G in accordance with the architectural plans. These are all,
utilize it in what way?
in that now you have access to the backside of Building G and even Building E. So you now have access, either pedestrian or vehicle access to the backside of every one of the buildings,
Okay.
which was the intent of the architectural design.
Did you run the changes, and were there any comments, corrections, or deletions from the building inspector?
We haven't heard anything yet from.
anything?
Mike, any concerns?
No concern.
Any questions?
No, not, no.
I know the,
No,
I understand.
I've looked at it, and I think it's a great idea to lower it down, bring the site down.
Yeah.
It's a win-win,
It's always better.
you know. I've been in there for all the foundations.
When I checked this afternoon with Danielle, I understood that the Board of Health signed off on it.
Yes, they did.
I think the only one that was actually missing, I think, was Steve Haywood, and I don't know why Steve Haywood would need an opinion on it, you know, other than, you know, nothing, none of the streets access or whatever thing is really
It
changing.
didn't change the drains, and as long as it doesn't affect the runoff, in
No.
terms of, his concern is anything's running off to the street.
Yeah, nothing changed.
I do have hard copies if you want to look, because I do have some
Please.
photographs in the plans. I'll leave them.
So does Danielle have a new set of plans?
They're the
an
same
updated-
ones that Daniel had. These are copies, the same copies. I read your bylaw, it said you wanted 9 hard copies, and I made them for 14. You can now take it electronically. But you can see too that the stormwater features evolved in constructed today. You can see on sheet 4.
On which one?
Sheet 4. Sheet 4 is the photographs associated with the retention pond and the discharge. Okay. So you can see that we've come a long ways in terms of overall construction. In fact, I think we're June, July, we're anticipating we'll be in and be operating. Looking for a COC from the building department.
Even after we get another 30 inches of snow?
I don't know.
You had to say the S word, didn't you, though?
How did that work out for snow placement?
We just left it, after the snow, we didn't go back.
I was gonna say, if you're up and operating, now you're gonna deal with that snow, like, as long as.
It's gonna have to get hauled away.
Yeah, well, that's what I was.
Yeah, there's no place to put it.
That's why I'm bringing it up. I didn't see any place really that was gonna be a good spot. Minor snow maybe, but that kind of thing.
Well, I think we're kind of hoping this is a once in a decade.
No, really, that's
Yeah,
funny.
2015, right?
As my daughter mentioned to me, she says, the main thing about this snowstorm was that I don't have to hear from boomers anymore about the big one in 70 years. Yeah, like 26. I said, "You talking to me?" Oh, she did.
Don't deal with that. I still know the blizzard of 70 inches. I really don't.
I'm all set, I'm all done, I don't have any other questions.
Anyone else on the board have a question? I'll open it up to anybody attending.
I'd like to know how we got from the site plan modification to lower, it might be great, but I'd like to know how we got to the approval of lowering it, because we haven't had that in front of us to lower all of that. So when you say there's only been a few changes, I count more, so I want to, I think that the modification of the plan is quite, it's the elevations, it's the septic system, it's the hydrants, and it all might be benign, but I think that should have
Still
been,
a substantial change.
Yeah.
and it should have been put forth before done, is my thought process.
Well, the only thing I will tell you is that we have kept your inspector appraised. He's been aware of the changes that we have made, and I believe he let the chair know also. And in fact, when we were back
After
in
the fact.
after the fact,
Ergo, why we asked you to come in for a site
Yes.
modification. I
Yes.
just want to clear that up. That's
Yes.
why we're here.
But if you remember right, even at the last meeting when we talked about the issue associated with what was the correct date of the plans?
Yeah, yeah. we had that.
The board was aware of the fact that we had modified the grades, so we had proposed to modify the grades.
but it should come in as a site plan modification before it is actually done that way and before, so that we can all approve it. That's how it should be done, because now it's sort of here and it's just, this is what we have. And it might be great, but it's not correct process, in my humble opinion. Because we have a board of 5 members, and there's not one of us who can make a decision for that board, especially out of the public session.
If you're insinuating a decision
I'm
is made
just
outside...
stating
Okay, I just
what
want to be
should be
sure.
done.
The reason we're here is because it came to light.
My
that we
thought
had a change on
process
this.
is that it should have happened before
I
the
totally
change.
agree. You should have been included prior to actually changing any of the elevations. Absolutely.
Well, understand this, that the changes in the septic we just did that.
But that's not the whole thing. Like
No,
that's-
no, I agree, it's not the whole thing, but, I mean, honestly, we felt that it was such a minor change in that,
Well,
because the stormwater didn't change, because the stormwater remained the same, the layout remained the same, pavement remained, everything remained the same.
regardless, you should have included the planning board. The building inspector had a comment.
And one of those fields that you did change is the fire hydrants, and the fire chief would trump any card.
Right.
So the moment he came in and said, this is not on the right layout, he has all the right to change that.
Yeah. I don't...
And so it is the other two, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's got to do with stormwater.
I don't think anything's really totally being directed at the hydrants specifically.
No, but
In general, just the fact that there were changes made on the site that we
Yeah.
didn't get involved with.
It's the listing of them.
Yeah.
Because it starts out that you're stating that there's only a septic system change, and now we're at how many feet each is this, and then the buildings now have peaks on them instead of shed roofs, and now this has changed and that has changed, and it's just the septic, like.
No, it's not, we listed all of the modifications.
Right, but I'm saying
If you look at the
before-
original
What she's saying
cover,
is
we
it's
listed,
after-
yeah, we listed all
It's
8 of them.
after all of them.
Yeah, it's the process that is in question.
Yes.
We're going to hold anybody else's feet to the fire about coming in with modifications.
This is a big project, and there's a lot of things that go along with it, and part of that is the drainage and the easement and how that's going to be affected. And so I think that it really should be strongly put in front of that, and we should see how that drainage is all working out right now. These pictures are from
December.
before we've had any snow in January. We had multiple feet in January. We had a record storm that, yes, beat the blizzard of '78. So we should check how that site looks now. We should have our engineer out there looking at how the basins look now. We should wonder about how that snow is gonna melt into it. And yes, maybe we should also add a snow removal plan to the conditions as well, since we have that on other places in town. Thought process on that.
I don't have a problem with having Pat Brennan go back out there specifically
No.
and give us something specific to your site
Yep.
in addressing each individual change.
I don't recall the sign-off date by Mr. Brennan or the last inspection that he was out there, other than the statement did say he's been out there several times, which is certainly, it sounds like, he's the type of person that's right on top. I do believe he's right on top of things.
And the water department has been right on top of the water line installation. I mean, they've been there every step of the way. So they've been inspecting, Pat's been inspecting, and in fact, I've been sending Pat's photographs of all of these as they go in.
Right, but
Pat commented he was okay with the septic change, but I don't know that he specifically addressed the other changes.
He did.
Did he?
In this email, he said I have no issues with the minor design changes, which are mainly changes to the finished grades and the location of the proposed septic system. Gary has been in contact with me throughout the construction. I have been on site several times to inspect the drainage insulation. Everything looks good to date.
Yeah, I think that's what Danielle read.
So,
Yeah, that's the one I can't find.
Yeah.
So,
so he checked the grading and the septic that's what I read.
are you suggesting you'd like him to take another look while we're in a drainage situation? I don't have a particular problem with asking him to do that.
I think it's extremely
Neither
important.
do I. Neither
Okay,
do I.
well, good.
Now would be a good time to review and take a look and see what we've got there.
Michael, do you have any idea when the last time Mr. Byrne was out there?
Oh, boy.
No, he wouldn't.
You know, I mean, like recently or within the last?
We haven't worked there for close to 2 months.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
site's been shut down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you haven't
There's not
done
gonna be,
it.
there's not gonna be any accurate drainage to look at because you don't have pavement, you have piles of dirt, you have,
You know, that's
you
a
have
good point.
open
Yeah.
foundations. You can't look at on-site drainage. Yeah, you can go look at the structures that are sticking out of the ground. I mean, I'm just saying what the realization of that site is.
Well, that's a
It's not paved with, you know,
Look, you'd get more information from looking at the design as opposed to
Yeah.
physically going out there.
right now, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's puddles and ice.
Well, we can make sure that any of the puddles and ice that are leaving the property correctly before we do concrete.
Well, I think the building inspector's point is that the finished grades aren't in and the paving isn't in yet. So
So what are you
anything you
looking
see
at? Yeah.
isn't necessarily indicative of what we're gonna get.
Maybe not, but
I don't
I
wanna
think
put words in your mouth, but I think that's
Well,
what you're
that's
saying.
where I'm trying to go, is you don't even have your base down for your, you know. They were still digging in the road when I was there. But before all the snow came, they were still doing the mains right out front, so.
I think it's a good idea to have an inspection done, of course, you know, when the pavement went on in, but I agree with the building inspector. What are you really gonna look at except snow? You know, everything's frozen, so you're not gonna see water running off.
Pat and that.
And Pat made mention of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think he talked in general terms. He didn't specifically address each line item. If you-
No. You just said which are the mainly changes to the finished grade and location of this proposed septic.
I still think that a site visit is really something that will double check everything, make sure that where we are right now, because after it's all paved and all the buildings are in, what are we gonna do then? So we're just gonna like push it off and then have,
Well,
this is for everybody's best interest. And I understand what you're saying, but Mr. Building Commissioner, however, it should have come in front of us before this point.
I'm not saying it shouldn't have, but I'm also saying that that engineer's gonna be there for the next several months, making reports the next several months, watching that storm drainage, watching that runoff. That's all I'm saying. To have him go out now, I'd rather have him go out when it starts
when
to
you're actually
be working,
in April.
when they're working.
I think both.
I'm sorry.
I think both.
I think it's really no different at this point than when we propose a project and the engineer's looking at it. He's making assumptions, he's doing his calculations. I mean, that's really what we're asking him to do. I'd be happy with a communication from him addressing each individual modification and addressing that and saying that he's done the calculations or whatever it is he needs to do.
And based on that, determine whether another inspection can be done and
Yeah,
Well, I think that.
I don't think he's gonna see, and I'm not trying to be combative, I don't think he's gonna see anything that's gonna help us at this point.
The site's not plowed or anything.
Yeah.
There was one little roadway cut in the case it was emergency access to get forms out, but there's still this much. snow.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah.
Sir, could you just give us your name for the
Oh, yeah,
record,
sorry.
please?
My name?
Yes.
I'm Tracy White, I'm the
Okay,
project.
I just wanted to say it
Yes.
out loud. Thank you.
Well, unless anybody else has a comment, I don't know, how does the board feel? Do we want to have a
I'm okay with
consensus on
him
this?
giving us a letter of each bullet point, and then we'll take it from there. Maybe a site, it sounds like he's out there quite often when they were working, so check the drainage in April, maybe? Once it kind
I
of
agree
clears up a
with
little
that.
bit?
I could, if a motion was made, I could second that it would, you know, the specific calculations that he came up with the changes would be great, and then to prepare for another inspection when you open up and things
Over
have
the next 3
progressed.
weeks or so, if all goes well, get a little more rain and some warm weather, we're hoping 3 weeks, a month, we should be back out there. But it doesn't make any sense to start working in that much snow and trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
It just makes a mess.
Well, it's been crazy weather. You're getting 50 degrees one day and 10 the next.
60 next week.
Yes.
Well, the other good thing is, and I'll tell you, there's still a couple of structures that are gonna go in, and a little bit of piping that's gonna go in. I believe this structure is not in, and that structure is not in. That's just so, there's still structures for Tad to come in and make inspection on, so. But those aren't in, there's still stockpiles sitting there.
But again, you're still talking a month,
Oh, yeah,
3 months.
at least a month, yeah.
Oh, what about public comment?
Yes, I started with that if I don't see any other comments.
Hi, Brad White, 407 South Street, no relation to Tracy. The yellow buildings are the ones you've already got the foundations in, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so the three to the bottom of the plan would be E and what?
I'm sorry, which one are you talking, this one?
The three yellow to the bottom of the plan.
These are A through D, E through G, and H.
E through G and H.
Yeah.
You see, from A down to E through G and H, you're dropping basically 1 foot on each building.
We dropped the slab elevations on these 4 a foot, these ones almost 2 feet, a little less than 2 feet.
And 3 feet from the bottom.
And 3 feet on.
And those are already installed.
Yes.
And did you come to the
The
plan?
yellow ones are
Well,
already.
the slabs aren't in, just the walls are in.
The walls are in. Okay,
Yeah.
so the walls
Yeah,
set the slab grade.
Yeah,
Did you come to the planning board before you did that?
no, we did
No.
not.
I think that's what the young lady's getting to, and what you gotta understand is, you took this whole plan over from SEA,
That's the,
but this whole 314, 16, 18 has been a mess since day one. Their work started, what, correct me, anybody here if I'm wrong? The work there started, we're pushing three years ago, 2.5? Am I right or wrong?
You talking about the physical work?
The physical work starting at 314, 16/18 was all opened at the same time.
yeah, but we've
So,
only been here since,
16 and 18 share a driveway together, okay? They've got to understand that all the problems have grown, and that's why people are watching things. The algae are getting all the runoff. Amy had a point of, you're going and making changes without coming in front of the board, and now you walk in here and say, this is what we did, this is what we're gonna do. Oh, slap my hand, I'm asking for forgiveness. That's what they've been doing at Starbucks, the other place. That's what they're getting at, is you just can't come in here and walk all over us. They're not saying it's not a good idea, your building inspector said it was a win-win, he thinks it's a great idea. But you need to ask for permission first. I think that's what the board's getting at. Agree or disagree?
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
I'm asking the engineer, does he agree or disagree?
well, no,
You're a little late,
a little late, but I disagree only in that, to me, as long as the layout remained pretty much the same,
but it didn't.
it did.
The layout of the building's
The
laid.
layout of the buildings
But
and
the
the
elevation.
pavement. The layout of the buildings and the pavement.
Okay, so if I go in front of your house and I build a berm all the way around your house and tell you it's not your property, but everything stayed the same except for I changed the elevation, and now you're gonna get flooded out, and that's okay?
No, but it's not going to impact you like that, and that was the thing that we made sure of. And in fact, by doing the 3 foot, by dropping it down, we've actually lowered the overall potential impacts associated with the abutters.
Can I say something? So just in hindsight, right, I want to mention something to you. Everything that went on right here had nothing to do with us.
Correct. I
We
understand.
didn't have
That's where
anything
the
to
trouble all
do with,
started.
well, that's okay, that's
Yeah,
not us.
yeah,
right?
we
It
understand.
had nothing to do with
I
that, right?
understand.
And even all of our runoff doesn't go this way. Doesn't go to Alges, doesn't go down here, this is all of theirs. So all that you're talking about here
Yeah.
has nothing to do
No,
with
we
it.
understand that,
Okay.
okay? What I'm saying is,
But it
what
does.
they have done out front have made a mockery, a total mess, okay?
I understand
And then
that.
this gentleman comes in here and says, we're not really making any changes except for the septic system, and then pops up with all these changes that are being made, and then says to me that it's not really a change, the layout's the same. You changed the elevation by 3 feet in a matter of, I'll give you what, 200 feet, you drop 3 feet? That's a major change.
600.
600,
600?
600.
I'm sorry, I'm going by an eyeball from here. You guys have seen the plans many a times.
Yeah, it's a 40 scale, 600 feet
Okay.
across the site.
So 3 feet. I think an engineer should do the calculations on that.
That's a half a
You got
percent.
water on asphalt,
It's a
okay?
half a percent.
Okay, you got water on asphalt, not on dirt. We know on dirt it slows down, on asphalt times 100.
Sir,
Okay, so I think, yes, another independent
I
engineer,
understand that. It's a
being the
hard-
town's engineer,
it's a
should
hard
do the
decision.
calculations. If he does them off the set of plans, fine. I mean, these poor people here have been buried in water for how long? I mean, this goes back to starting with O'Reilly's going in, when they put that in water.
And their apple trees.
Sir, you know, and I'll repeat what Tracy said. All of the runoff coming from our site, every bit of it bypasses the algae altogether and makes it down to the other site. Everything's gonna go to the end. Everything continues to flow to the end. Nothing has changed in terms of that. You know, that was one of the things.
Does everybody sit
That was,
there and
that was
agree with
one of the
that?
things we made sure of.
I want to make sure of it because that's my job.
Yeah, that was one of the things we made sure of, that, in fact, that every bit of runoff coming off of the impervious surfaces associated with this site was gonna continue to flow in the direction of the intent of the original design. And that's exactly what we've done.
Well, then you won't mind if we have it looked at.
Not a bit.
Well, that's,
He said that. He
That's
did
in the
not
letter
go on
that
it.
he's gonna give
that's
us.
what we're doing.
A point, Tracy, that whole drainage easement has a lot to do with you because that's on your lot.
But we didn't build it, is what I'm saying. If there's issues with it, like he's mentioning, we
It's
didn't
not-
build it.
But it's on your lot.
It may be on my lot, but we didn't build
But
it.
if
So
that
we don't
doesn't
responsible
work-
for how it was built.
If that doesn't work correctly, it will affect you. So it should be.
Once again, I think that puts us back to the
Mr. White,
situation.
you run on Robert's Rules of Order. You direct your questions, if you don't mind me saying,
No,
to the
no.
chair, and the chair will,
I just
the
try to
back and forth
expedite
banter
this.
doesn't
Okay.
work. Thank you.
I believe that's why we're talking about sending it to our review engineer and have him address it
Thank you.
per point. And do the calculations and all the backup and all the review that we need before we make any kind of decision. You know, I agree with you, and we tried to admonish them for not having come to the board first. The septic system aside, the rest of the elevations should have been brought to the board. And then that's what we try to say. And that's why we're here for a site plan modification, because we brought it up that there was changes being made, and we have not had a chance to review it and/or had an application for site plan modification. So I believe what we're about to do, we're gonna listen for any other comments, is to send it to our engineer and have him review it per point to see how that works and what his recommendation is. Regardless of the cursory letter that, you know, he reviewed the septic and all that, I'm not so concerned about the septic as I am the elevations for the runoff. I believe that it's probably better, but I'm not an engineer, so I want the engineer to look at it.
Mr. Chair, I just got one question. I'm relatively new to this board. Can you just show me where your water is going? If you don't mind real quick, just in a snapshot?
Would be on the other. Okay, that's, yeah, that would be.
The one
If
to
you
your
go to
left.
go to the cover sheet, I didn't post it.
Here, you want this?
If you go to the cover sheet, everything comes here,
To here?
to here, yeah, there's your major discharge.
Yep.
In other words, when you look at the stormwater, everything is connected to this outfall, and discharges to that, to the sediment forebay, goes through a detention basin, into an infiltration basin, and then discharges out to the back.
Ultimately, it's country.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a pond, there's 2 ponds on the country club
Yeah.
that are interconnected with a small ditch. And it was unfortunate, but SCA did not show you that ditch. It does exist. And what it does do is it's going to flow into that ditch, which then will go to the left pond, but once it exceeds the capacity of the left pond, it
Comes in
will
here,
cross
and that's
the, I think that's the second fairway, flow into that one.
Right,
Comes
that-
in here.
That one has an outfall,
Right.
it flows into the pond behind the clubhouse. So ultimately, this is irrigation water for the golf course.
I think those were the ditch he was talking about. You and I went out there and were
Right.
traipsing through the woods and the Aldous property there. A lot of fun.
Yeah, so ultimately, this ends up being, pretty much all of the runoff ends up going to
The country.
the golf course, yeah.
Hand up in the back there. Chris?
Chris Winowitz, 129 Circuit Street. To add what the other residents said, in the future, what is the enforcement and, like, responsibilities when these things keep happening. As the town grows, we're seeing bigger and bigger projects. And this isn't the first time in other projects. You know, I've seen many meetings at the very beginning a project comes in, made very clear, no changes, any changes, otherwise you get, but these bigger projects seem to like sometimes just come in and do what they want to do and we fix it after the fact.
And what Amy was referring to when she said that substantial changes, yes, they do. They have to come in front of the board if there's a substantial change. It's not a blanket any change at all, but it was you know, Tom had thought, and we've spoken with the building inspector and determined if this is a substantial change, yes, it most definitely come to the board. Was it a problem?
After the fact, it's like,
I know there's certain criteria, things in our bylaws that, yes, penalties can be given for on a per day, per violation basis, but,
because I'm just thinking these bigger projects, in the very, when it first comes in, more residents come, you know, we go all back and forth, people put their comments, we make changes to try to make everyone's concerns. And people leave there thinking, okay, this is going how it is, and later on, they just kind of change things and we come and do a modification after the fact.
well, the only thing I could say is I don't think we have an engineer and a building inspector that have to sit on every project and watch it through its completion to be able to catch everything. But I think, you know, what has happened and should not have happened. I agree with Amy that it should have come before the board.
I think what you're asking is, what is the punishment?
I think we know bigger projects, the town's growing, and things like this happen after the fact. There should be something, otherwise you can just do what you want, kind of.
Well, you can
And fix it
also,
at the end.
if it, enforcement of something like that is probably the hardest thing of all. What do you do?
Checklist,
I'm sorry?
checklist right up front, give them what the criteria is right up front.
Well, they, you know,
It's on a site plan.
they're told any change to this plan
And somebody
requires a
educated should know.
modification. Yeah. I believe the question was, what do you do after the fact? How are they held responsible? What do you do to them? That's a...
How does the town correct it? Yes.
Yeah.
I could answer that a little bit.
So to preempt that, you will start off with a checklist right up front when they ask permission the first time around. This is what needs to be done. Same as when you apply for a building permit, before it's given out, they have to pass stormwater management, everything. Everything's gonna be signed off before they can get their building permit,
Yeah.
right? You people sign off on a set of plans, they have to be approved plans and signed off by you, correct?
Yep. And they're told that if there's any changes to these plans, you need to bring them to the planning board. I think the question was, what do you do if it happens?
And I'm thinking, like you said, I'm not disagreeing, in this case, it might be to the benefit, but like the next project, if this happens, and it isn't to the benefit, and then it's after the fact.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think your question was, how have you, I'm using the word punishment because it sort of says what I think you're saying. What are the consequences? If it's not an acceptable plan, you don't sign off on it until it's in fact brought into compliance and nobody can actually use it.
There's no occupancy permit.
Yeah. You have to be reasonable in some of this stuff because you end up just going into litigation if you're not careful. But
So part of the consequence of this is now that the board has decided to have a secondary engineer. Guess who's paying the bill to have that secondary engineer do all this work?
Yeah.
These guys are. So that is part of their consequences, and if they had to come up forward, it may not have been. But to answer your question, it's not a zoning violation, it's not a $300 a day fee for it, it's not a building permit violation, it's not a $300 a day fee.
It's not a building permit violation? I mean, it's not going by the
Planning
plan.
board.
No, But I mean, currently, like, it's not being built as the plan, so maybe it should have been a stop work order, come back to the planning board a lot
Right.
sooner. But you weren't here when this started?
No, and I'm sorry, but those foundations are exactly where they're supposed to be.
But that's not on the same grade.
Look at, there's no grade, there's no floor in them.
Yeah. it's
So,
just-
there is no grade set at this point.
It's a footing.
The wall is in, the floor is not set. That's why they're here.
That's fine, but,
Yeah, so
Good
it's
to
not,
know,
it's
but-
it's a box. It's an
so
open bottom box.
I want the engineering to also check off on whether or not this stormwater this drainage system that is on your property, and this is, you know, I don't know who pays for that. Maybe it's Starbucks, but somebody should make sure that's right, because if that's
Which
not
one are you
right.
talking about?
Which one are you
This
talking
one that
about?
you said that you're not responsible for, this circle up here that's.
The one we didn't build,
Yes.
okay?
Do you understand what I'm saying now? That should be checked.
Well, I
And
think-
all,
I think Pat's been doing that.
right, but everything should be double checked and cross numbered back and forth to make sure that maybe like, I don't know, because I'm not an engineer, but I'm just, let me be devil's advocate for a second.
Go ahead.
If this is higher by a certain amount of feet, right, and it caused a quicker water drop, and now we have a problem on your site just because of the fact that this like somehow is not calculated to the heights from this one down to you, just to watch out for you. Does that make sense to you? Because like if this was all of a sudden sending off drainage because it was a little bit lower on your site and caused an issue, it could happen. But I'm just saying, you should check it now.
I understand what you're saying, but just to reiterate that a little bit, our pavement elevation will stay exactly the same it was on day one. Doesn't change.
Okay.
Our drainage didn't change, our flow doesn't change, where it's going didn't change, our parking elevation didn't change, our pavement will remain exactly the same.
But the whole
So I'm
entire
not gonna
site,
create water going somewhere else in a rush because we changed something. We didn't change any
Those
elevations
structures are
of
the
the structure.
exact same height they were. The structures are the
Sorry,
same
we
height.
started talking. Okay, that's great. I just want it all to be T's crossed.
Oh, yeah, no, I
I's
get
dotted.
it. But I was just explaining to you that none of our elevations on the actual property as far as pavement have changed at all, or drainage.
They also don't get signed off by the planning board until the review engineer goes out and does his final plan.
Correct.
So, you know,
Then we
there's
can't-
still layers of inspection here. It isn't like this is it and never see it again.
Right, but we have to get the plan right first.
Well, yeah, but if,
So
but if.
maybe, I guess, as soon as we had wind of this change, it should have come in front of the planning board then for the site. plan.
Ergo, that's why they're here.
Right, but months ago, when we first heard about it, it should have been here right
I
then.
didn't hear about any, I just heard about the septic change
When he was
recently.
here in October.
I don't remember him saying that.
No, I did not, because we had, the septic change didn't come until almost the end of November.
Yeah,
But
but
you
you weren't
stated-
talking about elevations
you
either. You
stated
weren't
that-
talking about the.
You stated just a few minutes ago, somebody else might remember in this room, that when you were here, there were changes to it then that you stated
we
in
had-
front of this board. So that
Yes.
was October of 2025.
Yes, we had informed them.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Informed
and,
who?
you know,
Us.
is that the board, members of the board were aware of the fact that the
That's when
change.
it should have been in.
Yeah,
Or that you were going to.
that we were going to.
Yeah, but.
That's
yeah,
when you should have
Okay, it wasn't
applied
after
for
the
it.
fact.
No, it
But
wasn't
that's-
after the
yeah,
fact.
But that's when you should have come in with
Yeah.
the modification.
Would you like a motion?
Yes.
If you'd like to close it. Unless Amy, you want to make, I'll make a motion then that
Yeah.
Pat Brennan be requested to review the site points, to double check them and the report back to the board
For each specific.
for each specific point, and that a scheduled inspection would be made in
Whether or not.
April or May or whatever it was, or just be notified that one would be required from the board.
Can I make an amendment to that? That as soon as they're going out there to start work, that's when Pat Brennan should show up on. So he can coordinate when you're gonna go out there for your first day of work. Pat Brennan goes out on that day.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
And-
That okay
prior
with
to
you?
that,
Yeah.
we get
Okay
a
with you?
report on the change.
That's fine.
Right,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah.
coordination with 314 because of the fact, well, I'm sorry, the drainage for 314 that sits on 318's lot, to make sure that it all goes. It might very well, but I believe in just looking at the full alphabet of this.
Once-
So looking at this and how that'll affect it. And my only question before we move forward with a second or anything like that, or an approve of amendments, whatever you want to say, is you know when we get a stormwater book that's this big?
In regards to,
All of this.
The site, the
Does that,
narrative.
I think we have a significant change where that would need to be done, where it would show us, but I want that to be specifically asked by Pat Brennan.
Are you talking about changing the narrative or redoing the
It
narrative?
would just be a narrative change.
Yeah, right, well, that's what,
Yeah.
yeah, well, we can ask
Calculations
them about
remain.
it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Calculations will
everything from
change.
soup to nuts, I want to know.
You know, I think that's part of why I personally felt that this was a minor change, because the calculations as they reflected the site, even as it was modified, did not, still remain in effect. In other words, the modification does not impact the results of the original calculations.
But
So
it's-
that
but
report
it's-
remains exactly the
It's
same.
still a change. that
It's
should-
still a change.
It's still a change that should have come in to be modified.
Right, and here we are, so this is good. So, do we need to, or do you want to
Yeah,
go over that
let's
again?
clear that motion. Convoluted.
well, the motion in its,
Okay.
was basically to send a letter off requesting from town engineer, Mr. Brennan, that he review the changes of each individual change point, and and report back to include the drainage that would be reflected from the entranceway down through the property, so that no addition or elevation changes would affect any of the drainage problems that may or may not occur.
And a site visit.
And a site visit
Work
to be
commences
scheduled
again.
when work commences again.
And the book, to make sure that we don't, is that included?
Well, I think
in that?
if we get that from him, then we can decide whether we need the book.
We might as well ask them about it right now, so
Well,
that we.
that would be my motion.
Well, he didn't do the book.
No, but if we
SEA
need
did the
one,
yeah.
but if we need one, is what I'm saying.
Well, you don't want him to do any changes.
No, I'm not asking him to do the changes, but if,
That's what I mean, let's
if
get
the
his-
town needs,
Oh, okay.
Let's get his calculations, and then we can take it from there if that's required.
Yeah, ask him what further action.
I would second that if he would give us the advice on if that book would need to be updated. In any way, shape,
To
or
review
form.
the stormwater management plan?
Yeah,
Amen.
Okay.
any changes to the storm.
If-
Any
if-
changes to the stormwater plan?
Correct,
Okay.
Did you get all that, Danielle?
Second.
thank you.
You got, I mean,
We should put-
Well, there's a motion on the board, there's a motion on the floor
And it's
already.
seconded.
And a second.
So now discussion. Well, we can just, can't we discuss while it's in second? or-
Well, we've
okay.
got a motion and second, and we're voting,
Okay.
You're gonna ask?
or, I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Gainer?
Him,
Who are you again? I vote yes.
Ms. True?
yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Okay, it's unanimous. So, when we get the report back, we'll schedule the in again, and we'll take whatever action we need to take at that point. Okay?
And thank you for your,
One other thing I can do for you is, I know Pat has been getting copies of my SWIP report,
your what report?
SWPPP, which are bi-weekly inspections.
Yep.
If you want, I'll send them off to Danielle also.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
CC Danielle.
I think that's a good
You want
idea.
them? Yeah?
I want them.
You
Yeah, I
want
was
them?
gonna say, he should get them.
Because I didn't, because there was nothing in there that said who to send them to, so I've been sending them off to Pat.
Yeah, well, they'll go across the hall, but just get them to throw them the crowd.
Okay.
We'll take care.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right.
Let's see,
I
Trish.
can CC you everything I've already, because I think we probably have about 20, maybe 18 or 20 inspection
Reports,
reports.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll get you all.
And any repairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we want to see.
Okay, yeah.
Thank
Probably
you.
should have been getting them all along anyway.
Well, probably have no place to send them.
Yeah. Well, you know, we now have a good, stable building department, which is really to everybody's benefit. And that's, you know, kudos to Mike over there, because he's,
And Danielle.
and Danielle, although always Danielle. Danielle's been through quite a few people in the past year or so. I'm sorry, Mrs. Alger.
Yes. Is it possible that I get a copy of that, those new changes?
Yes.
Sure.
Can I do that?
Have a copy. Good, there's extra ones there.
Yeah, yeah, I actually have one at home, so
That's fine.
you can have this one. Okay, so moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Gentlemen,
Thanks, guys.
here's another fun project. 314 Plymouth Street.
Run, you guys run this fast.
Engineer report for the, well, for lack of a better descriptive word, the Starbucks project. One question that I wanted to ask before everybody left. Where are we at with the road, the main road that's controlled with the lighting? You guys are picking it up partway up?
Where
Who's doing the entrance portion of that?
they are.
I believe it's Leaders, is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be sure who we were talking about for what.
And where does your responsibility start after Starbucks?
About 60 or 70 feet after they have left turn into Starbucks, further in.
So,
Almost up by the hydrant.
by the hydrant.
Probably about 20 feet short of the hydrant.
Just so I have them right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
They handle the stormwater right from that one, that last manhole
Yeah.
on the right to the discharge point. But I will get you an as-built on that basin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before we move on from that subject, I wanted to ask you, do you have the actual document that we had happen from February of, or was it March of 2025 for the agreement of that road and the storm water management? You don't have a copy of that.
No, we would not.
So do you guys know that there's an actual copy? Do you have it?
Between leaders, you're saying, and
Us and you.
so the agreement we have, wasn't that between RJC and?
RJC and.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they
Yeah,
had
it wasn't
an
between,
agreement with
yeah.
Leaders,
But-
yes.
But it would transfer over as like, because you're gonna wanna know how that's being built for your best interest.
Correct, right,
Because that was only done because they started before you did.
correct.
So that, I'm just thinking that you might have some interest in knowing how that's
Oh, we're
going.
watching it closely.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, that agreement, do we have that in our file?
I don't remember. We may. I think we actually held that
You've
up
never
as a
seen a
condition.
copy of that
No,
agreement?
but I could probably find it.
Yeah.
We can get you, we have a copy of it, we can get you a copy of it.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Or at least send it to Mike.
Yeah, we'll send it to everybody.
Because that was a stalling point at one point for the whole project. They had to get that financial thing squared away. I don't know what your recollection is of it.
Because it's their main entrance
Right.
and they started construction ahead of time. We halted it because they weren't gonna have an entrance. They're only supposed to go right
Well,
out of there.
They had to get an easement, and in order to get the easement, they had to also work out who was building the road up past their entrance. And then there was some financial arrangements involved
Where
between
you
them.
guys took a
Somehow
little,
the easement was agreed upon during the site plan and special
Yeah.
approval for the Starbucks drive-through against
I know we
167
have
town,
copies of that, because we were insistent on getting copies of those.
We can get you copies, but that roadway hasn't been finished. They
No.
paved up to their
Right.
entrance. The rest of the road, they haven't finished.
Right.
That's their responsibility, they have not finished that. I don't know if they intend on it or if they're gonna try to walk, I don't have any idea, but they haven't.
how many feet are you talking? 20, 30?
100,
100?
feet of road.
I would have liked it was a little bit more than that, but maybe, yeah.
But yeah, when they paved it, they paved to that corner and stopped and we went back, so I don't know what to do with this, but
Yeah, might want to look at that.
Maybe is the hydrant on the speaking of?
Yeah, we'll take my word for it. We'll be looking at that before we
You mean on the
accept it.
Starbucks?
You know, yes, were they saying it goes about 20 feet after a hydrant? Is there an actual
Yeah, and-
hydrant on that road noted or no? It might not
Yes.
be.
Yeah, they just
Yeah,
missed it, yeah.
Exit it out.
That's what they talked about.
It's
It's up.
Somewhere right in here. Somewhere.
Is it marked? Is it there, right?
It's,
Is that?
see that manhole right, there's a manhole right there. It goes right to the high point right there.
So that's where the road is too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's their responsibility,
Yeah, they stopped here and took a left. They didn't finish this. 'Cause
which
this is-
they're supposed to.
Yes.
Right, because that so what happens is, because there's a catch basin there, it has to be paved, or else that's where the water's gonna go into here.
Right.
So they're supposed to finish that road, but they stopped here instead of here.
Okay.
So the catch basins are actually just never
And
Right.
they're
ending.
supposed to
Non-functional.
finish right here in order to open.
Yeah, they had it cut.
Yeah, right to the,
Okay,
right to
so
the.
you see
right
why
to
I'm
the-
worried about it, you?
Oh, no, yes, I get it, but, you know, we haven't had any luck communicating with them at all.
Okay,
So,
that's good.
And
Good to know.
Pat and I have been watching
You guys want to hang around?
the basin. No, I don't.
Thank you again.
With you.
All right,
Thank you.
have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right, we're
I'm
on.
sorry, 314, leaders? I believe that's what it...
Are they on Zoom?
Yep, we're here, right?
Oh, right, Florida.
Florida's here, yep. There were a few things we've already started talking about tonight that...
Your name, sir? I'm
Sorry, Darren Welday, 200 East Palm Valley Drive. A couple of things we've already started talking about tonight that I kind of had on my tip list to go over with you guys. One we were just talking about is the road. My understanding with that is we're waiting on a bonding number from you guys to figure out the exact amount.
No,
Is that not the case?
no. The only thing we ever discussed about bonding was the traffic signaling because the masts and arms were in limited supply. That's the only discussion we ever had about any bonding.
Okay. And is that, have we finalized a number for that bonding?
Nope.
Okay.
And the reason
One of
is,
the issues...
We're waiting for an estimate or something.
Yeah, one of the issues is that anything we do, we have to bond at prevailing wage, which is different than whatever numbers you folks may or may not be paying for this. We don't get the privilege of looking for the lowest bidder without prevailing wage. So we're kind of stuck with that. So until we get some hard numbers, and we're gonna have to figure out, get an estimate for what the prevailing wage would add to that, plus whatever factor we want to add into that for,
And I think we're still waiting for numbers or
I
an
was gonna
exact
say,
number
are you
from...
waiting for something from us or from other people in order to finalize that?
well, we
From
were
us?
looking for a final number, and the other part of that was that this has gone on so long, we were looking maybe to get some kind of an update, if you have any idea if that equipment's coming anytime soon or not.
Because we understood it was very backordered is how it was explained to us.
My understanding is mid to late April.
that's
I think that does sound familiar.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
That's for the arm light,
Correct.
right?
Correct. What's there now is a temporary light.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I think at the time, the consensus was that most everybody was okay with the temporary signaling. But, we didn't talk about roads completions, because honestly, for me personally, I expected all that to have been done before winter. But, cool.
Well, then, I met with Mike, we talked to him several times this week, and our understanding from our contractor was that the asphalt plant was closed. Mike informed us this week that that's not the case.
No, Edwards is...
So we've reached out about getting the asphalt to be able to finish that. So, because we've got some asphalt work that needs to be redone in the front as well, based on Steve Hayward's inspections, that I met with him today out at the site as well, so he could go over all the things that needed to be fixed there. And then talked about the light as well. I know one comment or a question you had, sorry, I'm supposed to address this way, was can that signal be turned on? I spoke to him today. He said, sure, it can be turned on at any time. Everything's wired up and ready to go.
Steve Haywood said that?
Steve Hayward, yes.
Yeah,
His,
I had a conversation with him, he mentioned that to me.
yeah, he just thought it's not really needed right now, so he was leaving it at flashing. But if it was the desire of the town, it could be turned on at any time.
Why would we need it turned on? I mean, there's no...
If you were operating, it would be on, but that would be more him and the police talking about traffic.
Yeah, it was just something that has come up during the comments
Yeah.
that I've been trying to talk to everybody, get everything in line here, because as everybody here knows, this project's been going on for quite a long time. I just came into this thing, so I'm trying to figure out where everything's at.
Lucky you.
Figure out things and get it squared away and try to get this over the finish line here for everybody's sake.
Did you receive the last response from the board about
The sidewalk.
conditions on the property, sidewalk? in
Yes,
particular?
I have the report here from Steve, and like I said,
It's more than that.
Yeah.
We sent, there was a letter from the planning board that
Yeah,
was sent out to you,
And,
not to you specifically.
this one with the measurements on it as well.
yeah, the one that.
I think that was partly included,
Yeah.
right?
That's, Steve probably gave him the whole report.
Yeah, I
I'm sure
have,
Steve gave him a copy of the whole.
yeah, I have 2 letters to you guys from, so.
Yeah, there's multiple pictures in there,
Okay, okay,
references.
yeah.
That is the report to show all the deficiencies.
Okay.
But I meant, yeah, I meant a letter from the planning board.
Oh,
We drew up
Yeah,
a list of,
that got sent.
so that's why he's here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
Yeah.
but I wanted to make sure that he knew that those were the other issues.
Right.
yes, yeah, I've got Steve's whole list of the letter that he sent to you guys that covered everything. Actually, multiple
Okay.
letters to you guys. And then the report from that outside engineer. Like I said, he and I met at the site today so that he could walk through all those things with me. I could take pictures of it, get everything squared away so that we can get the corrections made on those now.
In terms of site plan modifications, aside from the work, I was actually having a little trouble finding the latest plan that we had up there. There's a ramp system up in front, just adjacent to the sidewalk, actually encroaches on the sidewalk a little bit, but that's Steve's issue. I don't know that that was on the original plan. That was a modification somewhere along the line, ergo, we're talking about modifications.
Yep.
That got thrown in there.
What is it? Is that what are we talking about, a handicap ramp or?
Yeah.
To be honest,
Is that what it is?
it was not our modification, so we're thinking it was Starbucks modification. So I reached out to our team to reach out to the engineers to figure out who put that in there. Because again, when I was out there with Steve, he brought it to my attention and we're looking at it. It's 99% covered in snow, so I could only see pieces of it, but he said, take my word for it, there's a ramp under here somewhere. But yeah, that was not on our original plan, so we got a punch list from Starbucks that included putting a railing on a ramp. And so that's what brought it to our attention. And so we're trying to figure out if they put that ramp in, and if so, what was the purpose and why was it put in?
And if it's to, for handicap purposes, just eyeballing that, I don't know, that's pretty steep out there. I just,
Yeah, and that was Steve's comment as well. Like I said,
If
I
it
couldn't
was
see
ADA
It's
compliant.
completely
Yeah.
covered in snow, so we couldn't look at it or measure it or anything. But yeah, it's on our list to figure out why that's there and what it's
Okay.
for, because it was not on our original plans, and we did not install it. So we're assuming Starbucks did. But either way, we'll find out why it's there and then come and talk to you guys about it, either to remove it or to come get our hands slapped for doing something that shouldn't have been done.
Darren, you're from Leaders, is that correct?
Yes.
Oh.
yeah. Mike, the building inspector had a comment.
So my question to the board is, are we gonna require this light to work to give this store occupancy? Because I'm hearing a little different. It sounds like the light doesn't need to work. So
No.
does the light have to work for occupancy and the road be finished? Or just the road finished and the light just be turned?
I was just talking about the arm that was coming up,
Oh, okay.
not the working
So
of it.
for now, I do see there's new lights hung there that just aren't operating, right?
Yeah.
So they can turn those on, is what the DPW director is saying?
Correct.
And that will go on, right?
Right. He didn't think
I
it was
just wanted to
necessary
ask that.
at this time to turn them on.
Right, not today,
Right.
right, but in 30 days or whatever, whenever they get an occupancy, I just want to know that the board, we want the light on.
Absolutely, that was always the.
That was always the.
That was
That's one,
always.
that's like a
Okay,
major
yeah, because I was told it was
100%
shut
on
off.
there, I mean,
I was
you're
told it was
absolutely
shut off.
And that
because
was
Stop and
square
Shop.
with Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
No, no.
So,
It was always
okay, I
it.
just wanted to be sure of that.
No,
Sorry.
that's a valid question.
Yeah, and that was our understanding as well, is that as soon as operations, the light needs to be good, but it could it could be turned on now. If the road is paved next week, the light could be turned on next week. It's ready to go
I'll talk
with
to
the
them.
temporary
Yeah.
stuff. And then whenever the permanent comes in, it'll be swapped out, but it's fully functional with the temporary status right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's how I think we all understood.
Yep.
You know. And that's why the discussion that we had months ago about the potential temporary certificate of occupancy, we would be okay with the temporary lights working out there.
And I had clarified as part of that wouldn't be the only thing, and I think we all pretty much agree,
Oh, yeah,
because,
that's all we talked about was the lights. That was
Yeah.
it.
That was-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What was the other bond you were referring to, aside from the light?
Well, he was thinking that the driveway, that the road was gonna be bonded
And
Oh,
because of the asphalt.
Yeah, and Steve, in his letter to you guys, had mentioned potentially bonding all the roadworks, and some of it may not be able to be completed until all the snow is.
That was the
cleared.
letter we got from you folks. That wasn't,
well, he had mentioned it as, I don't know if it's too late.
oh, yeah.
Too late to get it
Talking
done.
about-
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but that was just his like thought process of how are we gonna make this right,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a couple of different distinctions here. The street itself, the road, really isn't the purview of the planning board. It's really highway.
It's private.
Yeah, well, no.
No, no, no,
Plymouth
this
Oh,
was-
106.
oh, you mean
Plymouth-
106?
Plymouth 6.
I thought you meant the entrance
No,
one.
no,
Okay.
no, 106.
Okay.
Because I know that the highway surveyor originally, when he discussed it, because he didn't actually have to allow the road to be opened because it was less than 5 years since the paving had been done out there. He actually delayed the paving a year, anticipating the construction work, and then when it didn't happen, he just had to go ahead and do it. So actually, it was fortunate that he was actually even willing to open up the road at that point. But the deal was, if I understood it correctly, that it was supposed to be milled 10 feet
Mhm.
on either side, 2 inches deep maybe? Or maybe it was more.
Yeah, it was more, I think, but anyway. Yeah.
But anyway, so of course that never happened, so that might be why.
So that is still on the plan to be done when all the road and all the asphalt work is done. Like I said, we were under the impression that the asphalt was not available, but that is all still in the plans to do, is to, right now, there's like a 3-foot wide strip.
Two of
And it
them.
will be, yeah, and they will be expanded to become wider and then to allow for better leveling.
Right, okay, all right. And then that brings up the sidewalk, which is a whole nother catastrophe, and has been since day one. I don't know what the issues there were with the contractor or whatever, and it's none of my personal business, which your relationship with the contractor or the developer is, but that is absolutely not compliant. I mean, just eyeballing it, that there's no way that that is level.
Where were you talking?
Directly in front of the construction site, which has been the sore
All the
point
sidewalks at the road.
all along. I mean, from the, having silk socks laying in the sidewalk and impeding people from walking it, not to mention the dimple out there that was a mess and got ripped up by the snow thrower.
The
Yeah.
the warning panels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yellow
what it
plastic.
is
It's something-
I know, but I didn't hear the comments.
Yeah.
Also, and you may be bringing it up too, at one point, the highway surveyor had indicated that he thought it was a good idea that we put an island in the turn, right in only, left, right out only, no left turn in. There was a couple of incarnations of that. There was one setup that was further up onto the driveway with granite on the sides, which I didn't think was a good idea for plowing purposes, but, and then it morphed into, onto the sidewalk. And I get the idea that it's preventative, but it's also sloped. And there's no way any of that is handicap compliant out there. So that has to be addressed.
So, and the question from us is, what do you guys want us to put there? When I spoke with Steve today, his recommendation was just rip the whole thing out and just put painted lines there and then put a like exit only sign and an entrance only sign there to kind of prevent people from turning. But That way it can be completely flat graded for ADA compliance purposes,
Yeah.
and not, the reason it got to the shape it is now was for the fire trucks to be able to turn and get on. Because, as you said, the large granite thing impeded fire trucks from being able to get in there, so the fire department said, that's gotta go. So then they came up with that hybrid slopey design. But Steve's recommendation was either take the whole thing out, which was his first preference, and paint it, or cut out the section that is in the line of the sidewalk. But that just leaves you with like 1 foot of random concrete there that may end up doing more damage to cars than anything.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
I
So-
guess Steve's idea works for me.
And so, and we're fine doing whatever you guys want to do, because I believe it was the town that wanted that put in. So
To
we're fine
dissuade
with it or
people
whatever.
from
Yeah,
turning left.
totally understand
Yeah,
why,
right.
but I think now that we've kind of seen some iterations of it, and Steve's recommendation is let's just put paint down there and be done with it. We're happy with whatever you guys want to do. You tell us what you want the final product.
I like the opinion from the building commissioner.
I think he's got one.
Yeah. Of course they do. So I would like to see the sidewalks ripped out completely that were installed from start to finish. And the handicap mats put in correctly into wet concrete like they should have been put in. And sidewalk paver be brought in rather than a wheelbarrow and a couple guys with a hand roller. So my suggestion to the board is to get rid of the rumble strip in the middle, all right? Because it's more important to become ADA compliant, because
It
that's
has
what
to
it's
be.
about. It has to be, all right? And I'm not as worried about the fire truck as I am about all the 18-wheelers that have to come in there, because they have to come in there to deliver to Starbucks and to that new auto zone. That is the only way to get 18-wheelers in those 2 facilities. So they're coming in that way, just so you realize.
What? They're not gonna come through the drive?
Where? That little exit?
No, oh, no, like they're coming in through the road. Well,
Right,
like,
and then they have to
That
go
goes back to
behind,
the
they go
storage.
behind the stores.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm just saying, they gotta
when
make
they
that
leave.
over that, the rumble strip is null and void at
Yeah.
that point,
Are you
to be
I'm
honest.
sorry, you talking about the one that's on the side road?
Mr.
The one
White,
that's on-
please, Mr. White,
Yeah,
please.
correct.
Is he talking about the one that's on the side road or the one that's on Route 106?
So he's going to ignore me anyway. Go ahead.
No, he's,
So the one that's on the side road heading into the storage facility, right? That's where they're gonna come in.
not the controlled entrance.
Exactly.
You're talking about the other
The
entrance.
main entrance, that's where I want the rumble.
The one
strip.
directly on Plymouth
Yeah,
Street.
that's actually the main entrance, really only for the auto store.
Okay.
no, there's no main entrance.
The way I see that, the way I see it, and the
Well, it's
entrance
it
signs
is
in
an
in
entrance.
Starbucks right now, the entrance is coming in off that side street. You go to the Starbucks, you have to go up the side street, head towards the storage facility,
Yeah.
then take a left, and that's where their entrance is.
No, the way they're coming, if you're going to the drive-up at Starbucks, you're coming in at the control site and then getting
Yeah,
in the
that's what you
queue.
said.
But there's also a lane to go over to the auto
So,
zone as
yeah,
well.
around the back of
That's
the
what,
building.
But-
so, that's what I'm saying, is all the deliveries are gonna come in that road.
Yep.
So, get rid of the rumble strip and make that a handicap accessible way. That walkway needs to be handicapped, ADA compliant from one end that they started
To the-
to the other end of it and done correctly. And that's, there's no variation of that.
They actually
Period.
rolled it, but they did in fact do it by hand, which you're never gonna
You
get.
can just look at it and see
Yeah.
all, it's full of potato chips.
Yeah, you can see it
Potato
all
chips
over
the
the
whole
place.
way.
I have a comment from,
Chris Winowitz, 129 Circuit Street. I know in the last meeting you mentioned you go to Pat Brennan, re-look at the controlled entrance. Like the building inspector just mentioned, it's pretty narrow. There's 3 lanes there. The middle lane is the only lane for all 3 properties to take a left out westbound on 106. And when Starbucks is probably gonna be busy, there might always be cars in that middle lane. Now that we're having the self-storage out back, there possibly could be people, 26-foot U-Haul trucks, trailers, pulling in off 106, and if the cars are in that middle lane constantly, they're not gonna have the room to swing in, because it does look narrow. So if there's gonna be a lot of like rear tires of trucks driving up over the sidewalks and stuff to try to swing in, then I think you would go have Brendan just take a look at that,
Yeah.
see if that's gonna be an issue.
Sure. We can have
Yeah.
leaders take a look at that too, and ask Pat to review it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a legitimate road now, so that needs to be,
Yep.
it's more than just an access way, because it has future,
It's more than just a driveway.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's gonna have some traffic.
And I don't know if there will be
That's
any
why it wasn't
hole
supposed
in
to
the
happen.
edge of the curb there, like a crosswalk, hit a button, I don't know what the design is. So if someone with a big U-Haul truck tries to make the corner in, cutting it tight, because there's cars in the middle lane there for that access road,
Yeah.
if they might sideswipe something or up over the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's a legitimate concern. I'm sorry. Brad?
Brad White, 407 South Street. While we have the gentleman here taking notes for the contractor to fix stuff, would it be possible that something we're trying to get done for a long time now, at least get somebody, the contractor, go out there and pick up the wattles, all the rubber bases to the tires, the stuff that's damaged the town's equipment? It's a total mess, but at least pick up all the debris.
That'd be a great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, it has been working
I-
pretty bad.
I see him taking notes, so I'm assuming he's
Oh, yeah, he is.
going to attempt to address this.
Yeah, well, and like I said, that's my goal, is to figure out,
What we need to do.
what do we need to do here? What do you guys need from us? You know, I know we started out talking about the bonding. Are there specific things you need from us for that?
There was also a question that came up when I had a conversation with the highway surveyor this afternoon. And he was talking about the runoff from not the controlled entrance or exit, but the other side.
Yeah.
It appears that one drain is working, but not necessarily the other one is accumulating or taking on in runoff. Is that something that we need to look at?
My understanding from talking to him this afternoon was he wasn't sure what the situation was going to be. And his suggestion to me, that he said he was going to relay to you guys, was that it be monitored for 6 months and see what runoff is happening and what changes, if any, need to be made. He mentioned I believe the condos or the apartments behind had a similar issue, and they ended up putting an additional catch basin in. And so his recommendation was, as we start to get the runoff and the melt, let's figure out, are they adequate or are they not? And if they're not, then an additional catch basin would need to be added.
I would think now's the time to be looking at this and make some calculations, because we're not going to get a finished grade in there and then say to you, hey, go dig it all up while you're trying to operate at the same time. That doesn't seem to make any sense to
I would
me.
second that.
But
Yeah,
you
let's
may
get it
want to
done.
discuss this with your engineers, we'll bring it up with ours, and see what the best approach to this is. And once it's done, I mean, we come back to somebody and say, hey, you gotta fix this, what do we do? We shut you down if you don't do it? I don't wanna get into that. Let's fix it right up front and get that
Better to
over.
handle it now than try to
Yeah,
make a mess later.
My understanding from talking to him was he didn't know whether there was going to be a problem or not. He just, based on having seen other things, there could be, he didn't have any definitive, yes, this is a problem. He just said, I don't know, it could be, so let's watch it.
Well, I got the impression that one of them seemed to be taking on runoff and the other one maybe not so much or not at all. So it needs to be looked at in any way, I believe. Somebody needs to look at this and make an assessment.
Well, and-
Sooner rather than later, because
Maybe
again,
our
I don't want to see this thing actually get done, get everything paved, and everyone's going, hey, we got it all paved, and I'm not saying you do that, but there's always the potential.
Well, so.
Because that will happen.
Yeah,
And- well,
It will get shut down until it's fixed properly.
Yeah, and it does already have finished grade pavement on everything now. Some of it's gonna have to be taken up to prepare for the ADA stuff anyways. But the other thing is, there's one on each side of that secondary entrance, one on the Starbucks side and one on the AutoZone side. So It's the AutoZone one that's not collecting anything right now, but
Seems
that
to be-
site is not finished and presumably will drain to that when that site is finished,
Well,
so.
in any event, it should be looked at
Sure.
in concurrence with our review engineer so that everybody's on the same page.
And I,
Are you aware of
our engineer
Brad?
look like that, and then is Pat the right person on your side to look at that as
Pat
well?
Brennan, correct.
So we'll coordinate with Pat.
That would save an awful lot of problems, solve an awful lot.
Do you have the construction agreement for the driveway and the parking that is an easement?
I don't personally have it on me. I'm sure we have it in our files, and I can get you a copy. of
That
it.
needs to be 100% completed before I'll even consider giving you any TCO. 100% completed.
Okay.
Because that runoff has to be handled, period. That section of entranceway from there to the hydrant that he was pointing out, if it's not paved, it's just gonna be a
Yeah,
massive.
that access road is missing
Yes.
the top coats.
The only reason you guys have started building at all is that you had that agreement to do that.
Mhm.
So, in my opinion, you can't circumvent that at all, period.
Yeah,
Mike had a problem.
Yeah, I don't think, I agree with you, that access road needs to be finished. You know, if there's issues with the storm drains there, getting that up to the finished grade, that's how the water's gonna get in there, so.
Bingo.
Yeah, no problems or arguments here on that.
Did you have a comment, Mike?
No, just to add that, yes, the road needs to be finished as well as all the sidewalks. The DPW director needs to sign off on the site before I think it even comes to you guys, to be honest, to
Yep.
make sure.
Everybody needs to sign
Well,
off.
he's the eyes, right? He's watching, he's seeing what's going on, so he's the guy that I think is the most important to come back to you guys and say, okay, it's paved. And now you can send Brennan out and he can redo the sidewalk grades and he can redo the ADA. And if we need him to look at that second AutoZone inlet, and he can say to us,
Yeah.
it's not gonna get accessed until AutoZone is built up, you know? But yeah, I think that we send the engineer back out after the DPW is happy with it, just like we would do
Yeah, he'd be the final guy out there, right?
a road. Yeah, just like we accept any road, right?
Except it won't be a road, it'll always be a private entrance to the storage. And,
Yeah, but
Right, but we're gonna make.
but I just want to clarify, it's like for the town, it's never going to be a
Quality
public
of a road.
maintained.
It's at
Yes.
the quality of, yeah, that has specific paving numbers for thicknesses and,
Yeah,
yeah, has very specific dense. Okay.
I just wanted it to be clear, just so that nobody ever thinks that we're going to ever publicly plow it or anything like that. That's what I mean.
Millie's blown.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm teasing him.
Being a wise guy.
Again.
Besides all the stuff that has to be fixed home, we still need a number for a bond, right?
Just for the light.
Just for the light.
That's
Yeah.
not anything about anything else.
And I think you guys did supply us with a number at one point, but we didn't calculate it for prevailing wage or anything, you know, for any penalties or a time limit.
And I guess that was our question, is we provided you guys a number, and we're waiting for either an acceptance or a counter back, or we need, give us some guidance on how we need to change it.
If memory serves me right, I think you provided us with a number of like 150 or 155,000.
And we said
And it was,
200.
and it was,
And we
And we
said
wound it up to
200.
200?
Yeah, but then I don't know that we actually considered prevailing wage in that 200. So we're gonna have to,
we also but we also gave it a caveat that we were looking for all the rest of the stuff to be done, and that's how all these conversations started, and that's why,
yeah. The only thing that we talked about bonding was
Was the
the
lights.
light.
The light.
That was it. Because I think everybody assumed at that point that the rest of it was gonna be done. And me personally speaking, just for myself, that's all I'm interested in bonding is the light. So
Same.
as far as I'm concerned, everything else needs to be done.
Okay.
same.
Agreed.
Brad White, 407 South Street. So if in fact then Leeds is taking care of the roadway going in down to the fire hydrant, then they would be responsible for repairing the roadway and the sidewalks there at the light, correct?
Yeah.
So could we work on, since, like we were saying before, this has been sitting since before Thanksgiving, could we work on at least getting the stakes taken out of the ground that hold the forms in place for the concrete and the 6-inch poles that we have from the asphalt, and there is no asphalt, it goes to dirt, and then it jumps up to concrete, just to make the sidewalks passable?
Yeah, 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 I think that's reasonable and
And they can hold that
overdue,
right now.
because it's been a mess since
Well,
since
before Thanksgiving.
it started.
Yeah.
And I know we've had a lot of conversations about it, and it's justified. Somebody needs to be in charge of it and watching
And
it.
see it through to.
I actually made the crude statement to somebody over there that we needed some adult supervision. I'll get in trouble for
believe
that.
that.
I will get in trouble for that.
No.
What else do we have?
So circling back to the bonding number for the light, again,
We're gonna have to talk to our engineer and get some numbers.
Yeah, we did have some numbers on it.
We did, but it wasn't concreted, and I don't
Exactly,
think
it
that we
was-
wanted to because of all the other situation, and it was.
Yeah, we held off, yeah.
Yeah, we could figure that out next week. We could figure that out.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be an issue.
No,
I don't think so either.
No.
that's the least of it.
We're gonna make, yeah, it will be enough that they're gonna make sure they wanna do it.
Right, and we have to put a time,
That's all, you know, be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, and we definitely will have a time with it.
yeah, I was gonna say, it has to be a reasonable time
Oh,
limit.
yeah,
You know, the equipment's tough to get, but at the same time, we want a sense of urgency on it.
yeah, we're gonna.
Now, I know there's an issue with the poles out there, because Verizon is terrible.
yes.
And I know that it isn't just that site, it's other places in town that we've been waiting for Verizon to take poles down.
So Steve said some sites have been waiting for years, which was
Yeah.
not encouraging for me to hear,
Yeah,
because they have our money and haven't moved the poles.
Yeah,
yeah, well,
hurry up and wait.
And they just got sold to Eversource, right? All the poles.
oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
Halifax has always been well, it used to be an AT&T setting area, which evolved into Verizon, but I believe that they want out of it completely, so they're
Sold all the poles.
selling all the poles to Eversource, which tends to be
Or
a little
National
more,
Grid.
Yeah.
National Grid, excuse me, National Grid.
Yeah, National Grid already did their part, Verizon is the
No,
last
Verizon-
one.
Verizon
No,
has,
Verizon owns the poles in this town.
But if they were selling them, they'd sell them to National Grid because you
Yeah.
don't have other source.
Yeah, but I think even National Grid wants to get out of the pole business.
Eversource and, you know, we're divided.
Yeah,
Some have.
yeah, it's a
Eversource,
small
some have-
section.
Yeah.
Yeah. they're-
So
We have
the
gas.
power's off the poles are already cut in half, and the only thing on the poles is Verizon and Comcast.
Yeah.
So they just need to swap over, and then the poles can come out.
Right,
But until the swap over's done, they can't pull the pole.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right, but the poles are all in the grass strip between the sidewalk and the roadway.
How do we expedite that, or even can
You
you?
don't.
You don't?
You don't.
There you go.
You don't, unless you have a lot of friends.
yeah. All you can do is whine to the Department of Public Utilities. but
We-
that
Yeah,
won't
we've
get
been
you
told we're on the construction schedule, but
Yeah,
we
got
asked for any
that.
details, we haven't gotten any details of what that means, so.
But that shouldn't affect you, if you don't mind me saying.
no,
Shouldn't affect you, because it's only in the grass strip. Sidewalk's already been paved, and it's paved next to the pole, and all they literally do is they just pull that out,
Yep.
and they put global fill in there.
Yeah.
So if you do all your work, and you just leave that little grass strip, then
you should be
you'll be
okay.
okay.
The last pole is in the intersection. It's about 3 feet in,
Yeah.
but, so there is some that will
There is.
affect that, but yes.
Yeah,
Two of them
there
are
is
in
one
the,
pole.
on-
You're right.
along the sidewalk and one
It
is in the
always was,
intersection.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it to the side,
yeah. That one's gonna be problematic.
Maybe we can make them do something about that one particular one.
Well, you know, the town may be able to help with that. Maybe
You know what I mean?
talk to the
Yeah,
selectmen,
maybe.
maybe we can get a letter. You know, it may not do anything, but we can give it a try.
Ask Ken Sweezy to write a letter. He's been doing really good.
We can get up to our reps too.
And then if I could
Let's start
circle
something for a change.
Well, can I ask you?
If you can circle what?
back to the median, do you guys have a preference on what's done there?
I like the idea of taking it out because it's
Yeah.
really crazy how some of it's further out and
Okay.
all this other stuff. I don't know how you fix it.
Pave it, paint, hash.
I do want signs though,
Yeah.
like,
The signs will last till the first snowstorm, but just, yeah, the signs need to be there.
For occupancy.
Yep.
Okay.
You heard him say they need to be there for occupancy.
and the
Yep.
paint needs to be kept up, you know, like, even though we're going with paint, it needs to be maintained so that it's always okay.
That will become
Well-
a responsibility,
Okay.
yeah. 'cause
Well-
that's a crosswalk.
Because
We'll put it in
521
conditions.
CMO, yeah.
Where else are we?
Oh, it's an actual CMI?
Well, in the handicap accessibility. Hey,
Oh, I was muted.
yeah.
So pretty much you gotta fix the road, finish the road, fix the sidewalks. I
Make the
don't
sign.
wanna ask the board, but I will, but there was discussion last time they were here about the lighting. Is the lighting all set?
We have, oh,
Yes.
thank you for the reminder, we
Yeah.
need the lighting too.
Right.
We don't have a lighting plan.
Okay.
Thank you. Just so we don't have a.
Good.
I know
I
that's-
forgot all about that, Mike, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we were caught up in all the other stuff. There was one other thing now that I'm thinking about it. All right, now I'm gonna go back to my paperwork. Oh, this is the stuff.
Anything else on your punch list there, Darren?
I don't think that things that I need questions answered from you guys. I know you're waiting on an as-built from us. We were told there was too much snow to do it, so I was going out there to look at it to see. I sent them pictures to say, we're good.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it, so we should hopefully, we're getting on them to say, hey, get out there and do it for us. So we should be able to get you that.
60
hopefully here as well.
It's some serious melting Monday.
If they're
Tuesday.
right.
Yeah, it'll be warm. It's gonna be warm tomorrow, actually, Saturday.
I'm gonna need that in
It'll
writing,
warm up
Mike.
as soon as I leave, I'm sure.
And, well,
What part of Florida?
Orlando area.
so, if the board would, so if he has any questions during the week, if he could contact me and then I can address you
Absolutely.
guys.
Sure.
You have his numbers and everything, Darren, how to get in touch with him?
Yeah, so I just need your okay to,
I'm okay
Can you
with that.
send an
Yeah.
email so that we can be like CC'd on the email so we know what's going and you can answer them back in emails? Because
you can answer.
otherwise it's
but
all talk.
I get
so
it. I
email
would just look at it as an
communications,
incidental
please.
question.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a major, but if, yeah,
Yeah.
if you have an incidental, if you have anything, you can send it via email, that's
Okay.
great.
Well, I'll email coordinate with you and you can add on whoever
You
would
can
like
see,
to be.
I can CC the board.
Okay.
Absolutely. But just so there's some communication, that's not a month away from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want this to move along.
Yeah.
We don't want to drag it out.
We do. I think,
The sooner this is done and right, the better everybody is. Including you. I actually feel bad for it. You're the third one in the process here. You end up with all the junk piled up on you. But you look like you can handle it.
We'll get through it together.
That's it. I don't see anything else on the list.
All right.
no, I think.
We got two more here.
Yeah,
I think we gave them enough.
I'm sorry.
no, she had a question about the drainage, but I think you already asked it in the beginning. Because your question
you
was
mean-
lighting and the drainage over there,
Yeah.
but you asked the other.
To make sure that it was all,
Right,
yeah, so,
Coordinated.
right. So I would assume,
but I was making that,
did
yeah.
they build the drainage? Leaders built that retention bond?
I don't know the answer to that off the
So
top
I'd
of my
like to
head, but I
know
can find
that.
out.
I would like to know that.
They
I'd
they
like to
built the
know if
one
it-
behind the AutoZone store.
Yeah,
The one that's on the site over there, I think Peck did that, right, if I'm not mistaken.
the one on the opposite side.
Yeah, the one of
He's
Citizens
talking
of the
about,
Country Club.
we're talking about
The road,
Behind
the access road, yeah.
We're talking about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one behind,
Yeah, if you could get me something on
that was leaders.
that. So your responsibility is the road, the sidewalk, are you responsible at all for AutoZone?
No.
No, it's, they're doing their own, all their own.
That lot's already,
Yeah.
that's broken off, all right, but you are responsible for the Starbucks,
For the site work, yes.
just the site?
Yeah.
Okay,
So you're doing the site work inside the fence, ultimately?
no,
On the AutoZone side, no.
No, they're doing all that.
Yeah.
they are.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
They're gonna blend into your site.
Mhm.
It's the same guy, actually, right? The same.
Same contractor?
Operator.
I don't know the answer to that
Yeah.
off the top of my head. But I can confirm it for you.
No, I'm fine.
Anybody, anything else?
I think that covers it as far as I'm concerned.
I think we gave you a plate full of
Yeah,
I got quite a few notes to deal with.
Yeah.
we appreciate you coming though and addressing it,
Yeah,
yeah.
trying to get
Great.
everything, I'd rather get everything on the table now, let's figure it out,
Yeah.
let's deal with all the issues at one time versus dribbling it out for the sake of.
Yeah,
let's
and
rip
it's
the
gonna
Band-Aid
save
off and get this
it money in the
finished.
long run too, because if it was all done incorrectly or not done efficiently, then like Mr. Troop said, it'd be a stop order and then
Yeah, we don't.
we're trying to avoid problems like that.
Really far. I don't think they're far, but
Good,
they can get it,
excellent.
yeah.
As long as we're all communicating and on the same page, we'll all get through it.
Thank you.
Good,
Thanks,
thank
Karen.
you.
Nice to meet you.
There was,
Oh, we might have a question from the audience.
Looking at Frederick, Oregon, 7 Rosewood, looking at that entryway to that complex, and in the middle of the entryway, they have built a low island, okay? And having been a truck driver for many years, you're not gonna take a truck and get into that driveway without going over the curbs. Okay. So either that driveway should be widened and I understand the reason for that split so that somebody coming out lazily doesn't get onto the wrong side of that driveway, but we have drivers that way. So I'm not sure what the correct answer is, but the wrong answer is what they've got there right now.
Yeah, we're gonna be taking that out.
yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, coming out, going to driveway, or sorry, asphalt, and then it being painted, and then we're gonna have signs up. Because
Right.
you can only take a right turn in, you can't, yeah.
Yeah, a right turn going
Right turn in, left out,
easterly, yeah.
Right.
left out, right in.
But a big enough truck, when they come in, they're gonna take that whole driveway. We know that, okay? Because I don't think the driveway is, the curb coming into the driveway, I think should be rounded back a little bit further so that the whole rig gets in there.
Except for it's not the main entrance, any trucks like that are to be going in the access.
Into the access road from
And
that.
that's why they went for exclusion from 16710L, is because they couldn't use their frontage.
Good.
Thanks, Fred.
It's right out, right in, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Steve,
right,
the
right.
same thing.
Yeah.
One other thing that brought that back up, based on the conversations that happened earlier today, do we need to submit for a modification to take that out, or is this meeting cover that, or I just want to make sure we're following the correct procedure on things?
Well,
I-
we might need a modified plan on
Well,
the
I'm
handicap.
thinking about the ramp or whatever that
Whatever
thing
it
is.
is.
So the little island I'm talking about that we've said, let's take it out.
That one's
Yeah,
in the
okay, no, I know what you're
So-
talking about. I mean, it's kind of incidental, but.
Yeah, I just want to make sure for.
And maybe add the handicap
admin
ramp,
purposes. Okay.
you know, because that wasn't on there.
Unless that's coming
I
up.
was to say, that may be coming out based
Okay.
on conversations we have, but either, I'll let you know what the decision is on that, and then we can either come for a modification or say, hey, it's coming out with the,
Send
My
in a
thought
modified.
on that ramp, when I first saw it and realized what was going on there, my thought was, that the driveways aren't handicapped accessible. The grade is greater than 1 in 12, so maybe they decided to bring something in so that somebody from the sidewalk could walk up there. However, like I said, it looked too
That's not
steep to me anyway, but I didn't put a level on it, so I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but, so, well,
We
whatever.
wouldn't be so opposed to it if it
Figure
was
it out.
built correctly, right?
Yeah.
Am I, like, I think that we've all said that from the beginning, like, when we first started talking about it, like, we wouldn't be opposed to it if it was done correctly.
So if it's angled correctly, would you guys prefer for it to be left there, or don't have it in either way?
What do you think, Steve?
I think I need to make a
Steve,
call.
Mike.
I think I need to go over to the site and make that call, because it definitely depends on the driveway angle, whether or not another access is required.
Well, that's why that was my guess as to why
Oh,
they
it's
even thought about
definitely-
doing it.
It's a great guess.
Yeah.
It's most likely why it was.
And it might not be so bad
And
where,
it might not be not allowed. It may have to be.
Right.
So.
If the pitch of the road.
But you're not gonna get anywhere near it with the snow that's there now.
Right, it's not like that could be a modification, that ADA obviously
Compliance, yeah.
overrules everything and should say, yeah, you gotta do it. You can maybe put it in a different spot, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
let me go over and look at that and see what the pitch of the driveways would be.
And you can touch
I don't know
base
if
with
it matters with both of them. The one that's the right in, right out for Starbucks and AutoZone side, that one is steeper, but the access point at the light is
flatter.
Flat.
very flat.
Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying. I don't know if it matters if there's
It's pretty
one that's-
specific in the ADA
Okay.
how it can be.
Yeah,
So
and there's
I
no
will-
sidewalk coming up that way, I don't believe, all the way to the store, on the
There isn't.
controlled side. So maybe that was another reason that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all covered in
In
snow,
any
so I
event,
can't
it needs
see.
to be looked
Yeah.
at.
I do remember the end of last year, the contractor might have been in here and said they threw that in because of what the original site plan was. It was too steep or something, and they kind of did that on their own or something.
Yeah, I didn't remember that conversation, I may not have been here, but
Yeah.
that was my guess just looking at it, that's why I didn't.
To,
Yeah.
to
Because
clarify.
nobody would have done it unless they had a specific need to
Yeah.
do it.
Right.
Hmm.
To clarify, I didn't mean modify that we wouldn't allow it or like make it part of a decision, but just to make sure that the plan is what should be there.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, and that's why I was asking, do we need to modify the plan to show the median coming out and resubmit that to you guys?
Yeah, that,
Has this discussion covered that? I just want to make sure we're following the
I think you should change the
Yeah,
plan
well-
so that we have an accurate plan.
I mean, you know we're
Yeah.
gonna be all right with
Yeah.
it, just send the plan in how it's supposed to
Yeah.
be.
So make a plot, so make a amendment to the plan showing the triangle out and pavement
Right.
across.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a
And-
very simple, yeah, make a revision. to
Click of the
plan.
mouse.
And some,
And the
Plan,
light
Send it over and we'll get it stamped.
I'm good, anyone else?
I think we
No,
wrote
I'm
him
good
in
too.
book.
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, nice to meet you
This
guys.
is very helpful for everybody, I think. And other than that, I think we just have some housekeeping items, right?
Oh,
We have a bill.
we have some cancellations tonight.
Oh, there were cancellations?
Yeah, on the discussion section, we had the possible continued discussion on.
Thanks, Mike.
Crystal Lake,
Thanks, guys.
which is not going to happen tonight because nothing came back from the attorney. And there was a request to endorse a zoning change for the end of Industrial Drive. It's the weirdest thing, it goes from industrial to residential down at the very end into the wetlands. But anyway, they've decided not to pursue that, so we don't have to talk about that.
Who's trying to pursue that?
That was I think it's road safe now, if I'm not mistaken.
That Bob Liddell?
Yeah,
Road
not
safety
Liddell.
code.
They're looking to finance with an investor. It was the investor who brought it up and wanted to know if that was a possibility. And then they changed their mind. I guess they're not interested in financing it, so
Okay.
it's a non-issue.
Good.
There's enough to deal with at town meeting anyway. Plus, it was a question as to whether there was enough time to get it on town meeting, because you had to have a hearing 21 days in advance. But it's worse than that, because anything that's going to go in on the warrant has to to be done in a timely fashion so as to get the warrant information to the publisher so they can get the warrant printed. So there was a crunch.
Well, the deadline's not till the 11th of March.
I thought it was this week, to be honest with you.
No, to close the warrant. No, that wasn't it. It was also to get it to the publisher. And you had to have a hearing and blah, blah, blah.
The warrant's not going to be published until April.
No, but it takes, I don't know, 6 weeks, 5 weeks to get it printed.
Oh, all right, well,
Anyway, so it's a moot point anyway.
nice to see you.
What do we have for
Bills.
bills and whatnot?
Just one bill, I believe.
Yep, one bill. I went over the mail, I didn't see anything, just small additions to other towns, not anything that we should be concerned with. I know that there is gonna be a hearing for a battery park in Pembroke in April. On a battery park for starter storage.
I see signs popping up all over Pembroke right now about it.
Yeah, and they wanna put it, at the Knights Club where Social Realtors is, right on the river. So that is an important one to go to because if they start forcing battery storage in people's towns, it could end up being a neighbor to you. Not you or you, but us. Okay? So, bills? Okay. Make a motion to pay a WD Mason bill, S159552312 for office supplies in the amount of $144.26.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Is that a motion?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
She said motion.
I wasn't sure if she was just reading it, I didn't hear a motion. All right, so we need a vote.
All those in favor?
Yeah, we don't need to do a roll call. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, ayes have it. Those ayes, gotta watch out.
We're all over the place.
And then, another one, please. We don't have any meeting minutes tonight.
Nope.
And so then I will make a motion.
Our next
I
meeting
have
will be the
March 19th,
March
2026.
19th.
So we'll be there on March 19th at 7 o'clock.
Okay. After that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Move to adjourn, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it again. Thank you, everybody.